Hi, I'm Joe Daniel from JoeDanielFootball.com and the Football Coaching Podcast. Today we're looking at press quarters coverage. We're going to talk about how to put in your press quarters coverage and really how to adapt to some different route concepts that you're going to see out of it, the reactions of the corners, the safeties, and the outside linebackers and their roles within the coverage. We're looking at this from a 4-3 defense, but really you can run it from any defense as long as your coverage is going to match up. You just got to make some adjustments on the names of the players, but you can adjust this to use with a 3-4, with a 33 stack, with a 4-2-5, just fine, no problems with it. So let's go ahead and take a look here at our quarters coverage, press quarters coverage with the 4-3 defense. And I do want to mention that this is episode 200 of the Football Coaching Podcast. So if you want to go even deeper on this, check out the Football Coaching Podcast episode 200 on press quarters coverage to get a lot more kind of conceptual thought on it. Let's talk about what we got. Start with the corner. Now our corners are pressed up inside leverage. Okay, so they're going to be inside press. This isn't necessarily, I suppose you could do it, but this isn't the same bump and run press man that we're going to play in our cover one. I love cover one. I love press man. This isn't the same thing. This is more of a softer press. We're going to be looking to absorb, sponge, and almost like kick slide out of the press so that guy is not, we don't want to be in a position where if that guy beats us, he's going for 6. So we're playing a little bit softer on this, but the corner's job is essentially man coverage on him, using offhand jam, using everything that you would use in man coverage, just playing a little softer, backing off of him so we don't give up a big 6 or something like that. It's not as high a risk as your normal press man bump and run type of coverage. But the only thing that's different is if he gets an immediate break, so anything under 5 really, so a hitch, quick hitch, a speed out, an under route, maybe a quick slant, he's not going to take those. If he gets any of those, he's going to continue to sink. And so he's going to sink and now basically he can take his eyes through number 2 receiver and come all the way over to the quarterback if he doesn't see anything immediate with 2 coming at him, and really probably just taking his eyes to the quarterback because that's the guy that's going to throw the football. And so we want to get the eyes around to him, be able to see him and probably get an advantage off of him because most likely what we're seeing a lot of times is something coming behind him by number 2 if it's going to be an issue. Okay, so he's got that. Now, the great thing about playing the press is you really limit the number of routes that you're going to see. A lot of teams convert hitch routes into fades. So his job is to handle the deeper routes, the vertical routes, not the underneath routes. But he's doing it from that press position. So we're going to convert a lot of routes into fades. We're going to be seeing kind of a more limited number of route concepts than you might otherwise. Okay, so he's going to be over top of number 1. The strong safety still needs to get a run pass key. Now, I like the key on the quarterback. I like the ball down, ball up, pass, ball down is run. If we see ball down, he still bounces for a second before he comes flying on the run because we get ball down, boom, play action, he's in position. So he's just going to bounce a second on that. I like that read and that key. And then the eyes will go to number 2. Now, alignment for him, some guys will play him inside leverage, and you may want to do that. I know with the 4-2-5 split field stuff, if you were going to adapt this into your 2 coverage, like TCU's kind of 2 coverage, you could definitely do that and play him in that position. I like that. But with our 4-3 quarters, we've always played him outside leverage, 9 yards off, and about 1 to 2 yards outside of the number 2 receiver when he's attached. If we got a split number 2 receiver, then he would play 10 yards off, 2 yards inside of that receiver. So right now, 9 or 10 yards, and again, it depends how fast is he releasing out of there. If we're playing, a heavy run team, an I formation type of team, we know we're getting a shot on him with the defensive end. Like, why he's not getting a clean release? He's not a big pass catcher. Might play him at 8. Let's get up there. Wing T. Let's get up there. Let's not stand back here deep. But he's playing 9-by-1 off. King quarterback. Now he gets a pass read. Eyes have to go to number 2. So now he snaps the eyes to number 2. He's got vertical of number 2, meaning anything. I like past linebacker level. So if he's still pushing vertical past 5, or past that linebacker area, it's pretty easy to see. I mean, he's pushing vertical. I think coaches get way more caught up in overcoaching this. How deep is vertical? Is it 5? Is it 7? Is it 8? Just rep it. They'll figure out what a vertical looks like. It's fine. You don't need to overcoach this thing. He gets a vertical, he's on it. Now it could be a vertical like a dig. It could be a vertical, obviously a go. It could be a smash concept where he's getting the corner and we got the hitch out here. Anything like that, pushing vertical, he's picking him up. Anything that breaks out, okay, if outside breaking route, underneath that vertical area, whatever you want to say. I said 7 yards, past linebacker depth, whatever. And really what you're looking at is he's still getting it, down the field past basically linebacker area. That's where he's going to lock on. Anything that's a quick out type of thing, a flat route, shoot route, that's going to be, he's going to leave it and he's going to take his eyes to number 1 and he'll be looking to rob number 1. So like a curl flat concept. Okay. Inside breaking route, same thing. He will leave it, pass it off to the linebackers and he'll find the number 1 receiver. Okay. Our outside linebacker, he's reading off of number 2. Okay, so he reads his run pass key, whatever you want it to be. I like guard reads for the linebackers. In our 4-3, we're probably more likely to use the backfield key, but it just depends on what you like, what you work best with. None of them are right or wrong. He gets a pass read. He looks to wall number 2. If he gets a removed number 2, obviously in here with our 4-3, he's in a 50 technique. He's a C-gap player. But if he's got a removed number 2, he's going to apex that halfway between the tackle and the number 2 receiver so that we can funnel him to the safety and disrupt any inside releases on him. So he's got the number 2 receiver in that underneath area. He does need to run with the wheel. One of the things about press quarters is he's going to have to run with the wheel. So when you start getting more 2 receiver removed route concepts, you're going to want to have a second option so that you can run something where he doesn't have to run with the wheel, because I probably don't want this guy to run with a 4-3 slot, like a guy with a 4-3-40, meaning running a wheel route down the sideline. We're going to be in trouble with nobody there. But in this situation, 1 receiver removed, it's perfectly fine, and it's game plan situation, just knowing what's going on. If he gets an outside breaking route, he's on it. If he gets an inside breaking route, he's walling it and then passing it off to the Mike backer. Mike backer is responsible for number 3, and I'll just put these down here. He's got number 2, inside, outside. He's over number 1. He's over number 2. Okay, so that's basically what we're looking at. Same thing back here. I'm not going to go in depth on the backside, but he's looking for number 3. Right now, number 3 is in the backfield for him. That's the number 3 receiver. If number 3 were to go run an immediate flat route, he'd be making a push call, push, and then he's looking for a new number 3 coming in. We're expecting somebody else to come breaking in. If nobody's breaking in, he'll check for backside crossers, whatever the case may be. But that's basically what he's doing. He's a drop-on 3 player. Push him out there, find anything else coming in. For us in the 4-3 in high school football, with the Mike linebacker being in just a war sometimes, especially with 2-back teams and fullbacks and I formations, I don't stress much on his pass coverage because we don't see as much back out type of stuff, especially when you're playing those 2-back teams, dive option teams, that kind of thing. Different when you're playing a 2x2. But the Mike backer, we try to keep his coverage simple, let him focus on the run. So let's look at a couple passing concepts now. First of all, the reason this is quarters coverage, and I don't get caught up in 2 read, palms, anything like that. Quarters means, and cover 4 to me means the same thing. And again, I'm not saying that I'm right. I just want you to have a clear understanding of what the terminology I'm using is. We get 4 guys going vertical. We've got 4 guys on them. That's quarters coverage for me. So first thing is if we get, okay, the corner obviously stays on 1. He stays with him. Okay, the strong safety, bounce read, pass, he's on number 2. Okay, so that's number 1. We get verticals, and it'll be the same thing over here. We get verticals, we've got that route combination taken care of. A second concept we're going to look at with our press quarters coverage here is going to be the curl concept. So curl, we're going to get a shoot route by number 2. We're going to get probably a little bit deeper than that. $10 to 12 yard curl route here by number 1. We'll probably get some sort of a sit by number 3 here. So the mic will be on number 3. So first of all, it is a vertical stem by number 1 receiver. That means that we're going to have our corner on him. Okay, so the corner will be with the curl route right there. All right, it's an outside breaking route by the number 2 receiver. So the safety, again, bounce read, quarterback's ball up, it's a pass, eyes go to number 2 bursts to the flat. Now it's a robber coverage. So his 2 goes out, he leaves him now, finds number 1 receiver, and he's going to be robbing on number 1 receiver to the inside hip. He can get eyes to the quarterback, especially once he recognizes the route concept. By working these routes in practice, he'll be able to recognize, okay, flat, boom, eyes to number 1. Number 1's breaking in. It's a curl concept. Get the eyes to the quarterback, and you can really start to get effective with this. But this is the robber coverage part of this, and we've actually got robber to both sides because, again, if we got the same route back here, it doesn't change. The outside linebacker is going to be responsible, again, reading run, reading guard or backfield or whatever you get. He gets a pass read, eyes to number 2. He's looking to wall 2. Okay, 2 goes flat. He's going to stay with 2, and he is responsible for the wheel. Very important. You don't want these guys to be jumping. We run a 5-yard no cover zone. There's no reason to jump anything under 5 yards for this guy, because if this thing wheels, he's probably going to get outrun. Maybe not by a tight end, but if you start working with some number 2 receivers, some speed, a slot to the backside, we've got an H-back over here that might run the same thing, and he can get out leveraged pretty quick with that. So he needs to be in position to run with the wheel. And that is where you start to have to make some checks when you get into a lot of speed with 2 guys removed out there, a slot that runs a real fast wheel route could be a problem for you. So that's how we're going to handle the curl concept. Third concept we want to take a look at is the smash concept. Now, smash is interesting because we've got our underneath breaking route by number 1. So number 1 is going to run that 5-yard hitch, okay? So he runs that hitch. The corner is going to leave him and sink. So he is not going to stay on that hitch route. He's going to be with him. He runs the hitch, just sink, okay? And take the eyes. He can check number 2, but really what we want him to do is get eyes on that quarterback and just be sinking, because we expect with the hitch, the only thing that's going to be an issue for him is getting the smash concept with the corner route. We've got the corner being run here, 10 to 22. Okay, so he's going to be sinking to get underneath. The strong safety is seeing the quarterback coming up pass read, and then he's running with a vertical route. So your strong safety is going to bounce read, and he's got the smash route or the corner route by number 2. I lost my defensive end when I was erasing things. So there he is. All right. And then the Sam backer, he's going to make sure to wall, want him to get a shot on this guy, want him to kind of reroute, redirect, push that guy off if he can. But then what his job is now, he's got to be getting fast. And if he won't look for the reroute if he gets this call, he's got to be looking to get right now out to the hitch. We're going to give up the hitch. If you're getting hammered on the hitch, then you need to make a check and have a check in your coverage to do something different. But what we've got the corner doing is he's making a China call. I hear guys say China means a lot of different things. China's down underneath. We told our guys it was call, a hitch, in, or alley. Okay, alley screen, hitch, and in. And that worked fine. They kind of were like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's what it stands for. Call, hitch, in, alley. Because I didn't see anything else that was really good with them. So that's what we're doing here. Your Mike backer is responsible for the vertical release. This is a really fun 7-on-7 route. And at least keep the colors consistent here. It's a really fun 7-on-7 route where you get these 2 high teams. We see it when we're running quarters coverage and they streak the R down the middle of the field. And you've got a Mike backer who's like, pretty much his main job in life is to stop the fullback on a ISO or a dive option, and he's supposed to run with your, burner R back down the middle of the field. It's a great 7-on-7 thing, but honestly, it almost never happens in games. So it puts our Mike linebacker into a panic. But that's who he would be responsible for, is the vertical of 3 in this situation. But it's not really a real life type of thing. It's a 7-on-7 route concept. So that's how we're going to handle the smash concept. All right, Coach, I hope you got some ideas about press quarters, press cover 4 for your football team to see if it's something you want to pursue even further. If you're looking to make some changes with your defense, I've got a defensive installation manual that goes through a 7-step process for deciding how you should adjust your defense, make changes in your defense from year to year based on your team, your opponents, all the different things that we have to think about before we start making changes in our playbook. And there's a link for that down in the description below for the defensive installation manual. If you found this video helpful, please go down below and click the like button. And if this is your first time visiting my channel, then over here is a button to subscribe. So click on that button to subscribe. I put out new videos every week, and by subscribing, you'll make sure that you get updates whenever those new football coaching videos come out. And over here are a couple of them that you can check out now.